This is One Man Left, and this is going to be my third Manaforged Arrows update. We're on the second weekend. I think the first update video I did, I don't know what my budget was. It was probably in the low divine range. I think the second video I did update on, I think I was probably like in that like 70 div range. Like I had Indigon, I had other gear, things were going good. We've cranked the budget up a little bit more. I think I'm probably at like 300 div now. I've been farming good, and yeah, I got 20.8k mana, 2.5k dex. I'm at a stage right now in the character where I'm really just trying to make it tankier. That's it. I feel like I have enough damage for everything, like absolutely everything. And as I scale the gear and upgrade it, damage is still going to go higher. There's nothing I can do to stop the damage from going higher, no matter what I do. So I am just trying to get as much defense as possible, period. That's the entire remainder of the progression of the character. So in that gearing upgrading, I've done a couple defensive changes. I'll maybe show off a little bit of what I've done, and then I'll go over what I did. I'll start off with this, actually. So right now, like, for reference, Fubgun's been farming a, he's doing Ephemeral Edge, Lightning Strike. There's no Trickster this league, but it's, whatever the current Ascendancy equivalent of Trickster is, kind of. Just, like, get Ephemeral Edge, go defense, whatever. And he's doing Titanic Exiles, which has caught my eye a little bit, because with the shorter event, I don't plan to delve. But it looks sufficiently hard, so I wanted to try it out a little bit. I made a couple tweaks to the character for it, but, like, this is how the build looked in Titanic Exiles. We're a little underpowered right now. Like, Fubgun is making 4 mirrors per day, and has currently got 3 mirrors just worth of idols here. And this character's worth, like, 0.7 mirrors, so we are under budgeted. But I made some tweaks, and I'll just start off showing, like, roughly how it looked here. I definitely need more gear for this, but I am pretty confident by, like, 3 to 5 mirrors, Manaforged Arrow will dog walk this. Like, if I had Mage Blood for shock and ignite immunity, and then, like, Mage Blood and, like, 2 mirror items, and this would be, like, Joke City, I think. These are, like, this one in particular was, like, only 2 damage mods. Most of the ones I tested on were, like, 4 damage mod. I think the average one, I think I'm fine. I think the ones I was doing was probably, like, we were trying to get as many tank mods as possible. So I did 2 in a row that were, like, 9 times effective health, which I did the math means that, like, the giant exiles would have been 2.6 billion HP, I think. So, like, effective health, because they have damage reduction from toughness, not, like, pure life. Like, I think the Titanic part, or the gigantic part, gives them life multiplier. But then between, like, Delirium and the Titanic toughness, it's damage reduction. But then, like, the map mods, which have, like, 300% effective modifiers, they have, like, triple or quadruple base HP for map mods, and then, like, gain 120% of life as extra energy shield type stuff. So, I would say the 4 damage mod ones, each damage mod is basically double damage. It's, like, minus 30 max res, 100% turbo, 350% is extra fire, stuff like that. So pretty much every one is, like, multiplicative double damage. I think right now, 4 mod, I can't really reliably do. Until I, get, like, Mage Blood and, like, more gear. But I think the 2 mod ones are pretty fine. I think even 3 damage mod ones, I can't do for XP, but I think even, like, 3 damage mod ones, I think I, like, complete the map. But it's a good goal, I think. Like, I will definitely get to a point where, I don't think I'll get to a point where this is, like, easy. Like, I just go in and just, like, face roll it. But I think I'll get fairly close to that. I think I'll get to the point where to, like, have fun, I'll be trying to do this in tier 17s. But for the stage of the character right now, I think this is alright. I maybe slightly disrespected them in my past testing experience. I think, okay, here's the key difference. I tested this on Zenith last league. But 2 things were different that made me slightly underestimate them. The first was that it's, like, all fizz damage. like, most of the hard content in the game is LE damage in PoE 1. So, like, Ghosted Fear, Deep Delve, like, it's pretty much all LE damage. So, like, I built for a lot of, like, Fizzmax or LE max hit and whatnot. I have, like, no armor on this character. I'm a ranger with evasion, mind over matter. Like, I don't really have any PDR. So I've been making some changes to try to get a little bit. I'll go over those in a little bit. But this is basically the only content I've ever fought in Path of Exile that I would consider hard content. That is, like, almost all fizz damage. So I definitely need to tweak some things to get more fizz reduction. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to stomp this. But, like, the other thing I underestimated is when I was testing this in Settlers League on my Zenith character, who once again has 5% endurance charges. So he has like 50k armor and 50 PDR from just endurance charges, 8 PDR in chest, 13 from ascendancies. He's got like 78 PDR on that character, and 50k armor. So Zenith had a much easier time against fizz damage. But the other thing I underestimated is in Settlers League, this is only like 80% map modifier. Because that you only have the Atlas tree. And Fubgun has 3 mirrors of idols here that is giving him like 300% map mod effect. And the way map mod effect scales with 8 mods that are all like multiplicative with each other, going from like 180 to 300 isn't like, you know, 50% more damage. It's like every individual mod is 50% more multiplier. So it probably does end up being like 3 times the damage of what I tested against in Settlers on Zenith. Just the difference in map modifier alone. So this, I slightly disrespected this, but I'm still pretty confident with a couple upgrades. I'm going to stomp this. Like, you know. Fubgun, I'll hand it to him. He's made a pretty tanky character. He usually plays kind of glassy rangers, but his character he's got right now is pretty tanky for this. But in my defense, I'm significantly poorer, and I worked 45 hours this week, so I'm doing my best. But I'll just show you a little bit of what I'm farming right now. I don't have, like, 50 mirror idols, whatever. I'm doing some tier 17 scarab farm. I'll do a map like that. And then I'll talk over what I did for defense. But, I mean, this should hopefully look tanky. I think it'll be a rough time dying in a tier 17 map with this. I've got about 80% map mod effect. Maybe 85. I'll try to deliberately stand and stuff. I'll try to not play smart. Because if I just go in here and just dodge everything, like, that doesn't, like, show you, like, tankiness, right? So I'll try to just, like, deliberately stand at everything. It's probably possible for me to die in tier 17 still. Without, like, obviously with, like, Giga Juice, like, anything's possible. But I'm just saying, like, with this strategy. E-Miracles... Check out anything he's doing this league, by the way. Is doing a scarab farm that's like Abyss with like some giga just arch nemesis scaling, and he's getting some pretty juice maps going. I did test it out with him last night. I didn't have my 30% damage reduction idol in because it was his Atlas, and I didn't have Progenesis. I just bought it after that, so that's 51% damage reduction I have now that I didn't have then. And then I've got, you know, it was 2-player life, which didn't really matter, but, you know, the 40% idle HP, it would more than offset that. But it was pretty doable. It was, when I tested it, I thought, oh, this is, like, not as hard-hitting as Rogue Exiles, and I thought it was closer, but it was, in hindsight, it was very, very not hard-hitting. It was, like, pretty damn tankable. I think I initially estimated that it was like half the damage of Exiles. I think in hindsight, now that I've kind of recalibrated for Fubgun's like 3 mirrors of idols, 300 map effect thing, I think it's probably like 25 to 30% the damage of Exiles. But no, I have like 80% map mod effect, which is like about what you have in like a regular passive tree, stacking map mod effect to the maximum. As I spend more money on idols, I will start to stack that number higher. But, yeah, we're not that juiced yet, but I'm pretty sure I can level up in these. It's pretty fun. I get like 2% per map. I'm not using like the omens yet for XP, but I'm not getting like really big loot pops because like once again I just don't have the idols. But as I buy more, I'll get those loot pops. So right now, I'm more or less just like fragment farming off the boss. That's what I'm doing Ziggurat. It's not a layout thing. It's just the fact that I know I'm not making the top dollar right now with my idols. So I might as well get like the kind of guaranteed money on fragments, and Ziggurat has the best fragments because it's Eater as well as Maven. And like right now, Progenesis is like 60 div. So Maven fragments are like 1 div a pop. And you probably get like 1.5 div per map on this. I did this in Settlers on my Zenith character. Admittedly, I had a lot more quant, because I would try to get to 400 for guaranteed 2. Most of these I've been doing have been like 300. I'm not doing Risk, though. This one is low. I only had 1 altar. I only have 220. Usually I go in at like 240 and get altars and get up to like, you know, 290, 300. Which is like 75% chance at 2 fragments. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep stacking this. But I mean, I'm not really in too much danger of dying here. I'll go over some of the defenses I've got while I'm just waiting for RP here. So I have added Progenesis, which is obviously like the best defensive flask for life builds. The downside is like if you don't have a ton of like regen or recovery, the stagger is a little rough because sometimes you just get smacked for a lot of damage, and then you just like aren't recouping it. So you end up just taking the full damage anyways. You didn't actually get the benefit of the flask. I have a little bit of a trick up my sleeve. So I crafted some helicals. And one of my helicals has this 21% recoup mod. This actually fully counters the Progenesis degen and then some. It actually positively regens me. The reason that might seem counterintuitive because you might be thinking, oh, it's 30% stagger because I have some flask effect. I'm Pathfinder. I'm in the Ranger area. I have 11% on chest, so it's actually 30% stagger, not 25. So it's like effectively like 41% more EHP. But I fully counter that because damage with Mind Over Matter is split. Let's see if I get 2 fragments. Only 1, damn it. Okay, whatever. Damage is split with Mind Over Matter. So if I take 10,000 damage, 5,000 goes to mana, 5,000 goes to life. The recoup is based on the full 10k. So of that 5,000 on life, I'm going to stagger 30%, which is going to be 1,500. 1,500 stagger over 4 seconds, 2,100 recoup over 4 seconds. I actually go 600 positive. So because of the split Mind Over Matter, you don't actually need that high a percent of recoup in order to like fully counter this. So like recoup on split Mind Over Matter is insanely OP because it takes the full split amount and goes there. So like this is effectively, this one ring is 27 recoup. Like it pretty much full counters. I'll go over a couple other things. So I have 4 endurance charges now. These are probably going to go up in price, but I got this for 6 div. I got a +1 endurance. But I've added a small cluster for enduring composure. I know I've talked about this, so when people ever ask, like, oh, how do you do endurance charges on builds on non-jugs? It's actually just kind of worth it, because, like, 16 PDR and 16 L reduction is, like, pretty good for tankiness. Once again, I'm at the state where I don't feel like I need more damage. I just want tankiness. Things are going to die anyways. So, like, yeah. I've got a little... I switched my Quiver to a little bit of armor, just to kind of help out a little bit, so now I can do Fizz Reflect, because normally with Indigon stacks, the Fizz damage from bow is like just barely enough to be dangerous, but now with 4 endurance charges and a little bit of armor that gets multiplied by Widow Hill, I have like, you know, like 2k armor, which is not much, but it's enough for like Storm Rain, or Rain of Arrows hits to reflect. So I can do Fizz Reflect now with this, that's good. I could before, but it would just be scary if I ran up too high. But yeah, it's a nice tankiness boost. I'm not saying this is mandatory, but from the little bit of testing I've done, I want to get to a point where I'm face rolling Titanic Exiles, and it's mainly Fizz damage. So I'm pretty much just in the process of pivoting my character to as much Fizz tankiness as possible, and I'm making progress there. But like I'm doing things like this, where it's like on paper I'm like losing damage, I'm losing mana. I lost like 1,100 mana doing this, but I'm tankier, and that's what counts. A couple other things. So I've double helical now, so double cogwork. Cogworks are pretty good. Helical's a little better. On this build, it's a bit of a small gap because you get 2 good prefixes with life and mana. But I'm doing helicals now. I was gonna try to do these to see if I could get a Lake of the Mist gamble, and I ended up just getting 2 good helicals normally. I'm Great Wolf now, just because like a 38 roll is just good on its own, even versus like a synth deck. I SSF'd like a 10, 50, 25 Indigon. I had 2 drop yesterday from farming. A lot of the gear's the same otherwise. I am now split personalities with a Storm Drinker. I have a hybrid chest with 700 energy shield, so I have like 2k ES. Which Storm Drinker is really nice because it gives you ES leech, and since we have instant leech, that means I'm just recovering like 20 ES per hit, like 100 hits per second per target. So this is pretty much always just a 2k shield over my life and mana. It's a nice tankiness boost, and then I have, you know, a pretty big path on split personality. If I take the top route here for 1 extra point, it becomes 72-72. But split's good. Still careful planning. I'm doing Brutal Restraint here with Unnatural Instinct combo, Watcher's Eye, that 1 cluster, 1 single rare jewel, Healthy Mind over here now. I still have the option to do Mage Bane for Ubers. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with the tree. I'm going to stick through the middle and not do Adorned because I got a really good Brutal Restraint, and I've kind of already set that up. Adorned is still good. Right side of the 4 largest doing Adorned is still good. It's just an economy thing. If everyone did that, the prices would be unreasonable and there'd be no synth jewels. But if only like 30% of people play Adorned, Dex synth jewels are going to be much more affordable. So like it's better to like split up Brutal Restraints with some people going here, some people going here, some people going here. Split up some people buying Adorned jewels, some people buying, you know, others. Like they're very comparable in stats if you POB them, but it's just like a different set of gear to buy. And if everyone did the same thing, the prices would be miserable. So it's better to just keep people split up. Like if you're already like bound and determined to do Adorned, do it. It's good. You get all your nice ailment immunities, you get a lot of Dex mana, it's good. But don't think because I'm doing this, it's like worse to do Adorned. It's just like I got a really good Timeless Jewel that I yoinked, so I'm just committed now. But if you get a good Timeless Jewel over here and actually can buy like Dex Adorned jewels, you will do fine. I'm just too far down the rabbit hole the other way. I haven't done too much more of my Quiver. I switched the synth implicit. I kind of talked over a bit how to do it on the last video with Fractured. I've kind of talked a little bit. I'll just speedrun a recap. If you're doing the Fracture, it depends on the mod you have. You're typically going to be doing Sorrow Essence. If you have Fractured decks, you could Reforge Attack. There's a couple ways you can... It just really depends on your Fracture mod. +1 Arrow Fracture is like the easiest mod, because then you just like Essence into... Well, it depends. You just Essence into attack speed, and then just like remove add life until you can... Technically, you could Veiled Orb 50-50 if you have Fracture. If you don't go Fracture, you can obviously have the Hunter Slam option, which is probably still the easiest to get triple Suffix, which is the hardest part of the craft, is getting triple Suffix. Because you have to get +1 Arrow, you have to get Dex, you have to get attack speed, and you're going to be doing a little bit of recombinating to get that triple Suffix. That's going to be expensive. But then if you get that triple Suffix, you can Harvest, remove, add life, not Reforge, because you have a 1 in 10 chance of filling prefixes. Harvest Juice is really cheap this league. Sacred Blossoms are like 40 chaos. Just do the single remove, add life until you get a life roll. Then Hunter Slam, 2 out of 3 to get move speed. If you brick it, you can try to clean it and keep it as a 3 mod with the suffixes to go for the multi-mod recombinate. But you would need to clean 1 suffix technically. You don't need to multi-mod recombinate. You have options there. You could technically reforge, or you can't remove add anymore, but you go for the reforge speed clean and have a 4 mod, and then have a different Quiver that's also Hunter and go for the multi-mod recombinate to get the 5 mod. A lot of people have been doing it that way. So they'd have like, you know, triple suffix that bricked into Proj, Pierce, Reforge speed, and then like lock suffix and null to try to get just T1 move speed if you don't fill. But then you got a 4 mod, just craft mana or something on the prefix, whatever. Get a second Quiver that's like life and move speed, and maybe even Dex, multi-mod recombinate the 2. And then you have like a 60% success chance of getting the 5 mod, and then you're like pretty done. It's kind of... It'd be better than mine, but I might skip over the mood speed Quiver. That doesn't mean it's wrong to do it. It's just like I got a really good Quiver. I got a little bit of luck crafting this. And I don't think I'm going to go for the move speed because I think I'm just gonna farm out for like the mirror quiver instead. Because I already, like, if you have a bad quiver, it probably makes the most sense to go for the move speed quiver. But because I just, like, fell ass backwards into this quiver, and it's, like, pretty damn good, I'm probably just gonna keep it until the mirror quiver. Which, by the way, there is a mirror quiver now. I showed you the mirror jewel last time, but there is, in fact, a mirror quiver right here. We'll see if we can, got Beast Dart. That's a lot of mana. Unfortunately, quivers can't roll percent dex. That's a bummer. That's some bias from GGG. You can roll percent strength, but you can't roll mana. It's a big upgrade. Like if I put this on, I'd be 23k mana. But yeah, this is the mirror quiver. That's pretty much it.